Welcome, welcome one and all. I love science, I may not be a witch, but here I am, I'm a science witch, and what I'm going to be covering in this episode is a ship that I have been very dedicated to and a huge fan of since I was in 7th grade, so it's been about 3 or 4 years. The ship I'm talking about is the Doctor and the Master from Doctor Who. Now, there's a lot of different ship names that I've heard for this: Slash Lords, Thoshi. I think those are a few that I've heard. Regardless, it's the Doctor and the Master, and I don't know where to start. First of all, in my eyes, this ship is practically canon. Going more along the lines of how 12 and Missy now interact with one another, it seems a lot more than how it was in previous few generations where they were both males. I don't know, I feel like it's kind of stupid that they had to make the Master into a female for the Doctor and the Master to get any kind of physical intimacy. But, into Missy, am I right? But regardless of whether it's male and female, or female and female, or male and male, the Doctor and the Master have a bond that is unlike that of many other ships. Obviously, there is a lot of flirting in between the Doctor and the Master, that's a lot of subtext, but most ships rely on subtext. And this ship, while it does rely on subtext, there's a lot of different references that could be made back towards one another. So, and what I'm basically going to be talking about for, or at least the incarnations of the Doctor and the Master I'm going to be talking about are the ones I am most familiar with, which is the 10th Doctor and his Arrow's Master. I'm not too familiar with Missy and 12, but I may bring them up a few times. But as I was saying, the bond between the Doctor and the Master is more than physical, more than emotional. They are able to, physically, Time Lords have mental bonds with one another. From what I've read, they have the ability to create telepathic links between one another, which is how the Doctor knew where the Master was when the Master was close, which is also how I believe the Master knew when the Doctor had walked into the Valiant, even though he was wearing the, what is they called? The weird thing that was supposed to keep them hidden, but it didn't work. Their telepathic bond is one thing that is really, important when it comes to the ship. I feel like you can argue the Doctor showed more affection towards Rose, but more feeling towards the Master. Again, he always believed in Rose. He loved Rose and everything, and what I'm trying to say here, I'm not trying to say that I have anything against the Doctor and Rose as a ship. I, for one, prefer 9 in Rose as opposed to 10 in Rose, either that or 10-2, or the Metacrisis Doctor and Rose, but 10 himself and the Master are my OTP for that era. They were best friends when they were on their home planet. Growing up as kids, they were the best of friends. They used to frolic through the grass and all that. I can't quote things for my life. Especially in Utopia, that kind of was sort of when the Doctor realized Professor Yana was the Master. He sort of let down his walls, I guess. And he actually, once he knew that there was another Time Lord who was his best friend, all he wanted was to travel with him. The Doctor still cares about the people who he travels with, so I feel like, at least if this was after the events of The Last of the Time Lords, Martha would be gone, so would Jack, and the Doctor would have the Master to travel with for as long as possible. And that's that's one of my favorite AUs. And I mean, it's a great AU because it's like the different possibilities of what happens after these events. The Doctor shows so much emotion towards the Master when he ends up forgiving him, which is something that, under the circumstances, not a lot of people would do. I mean, he had slaughtered millions, tens of millions of people with the Toclophane, but the Doctor was still able to forgive him, you know, when he went all really weird, like, glowy Doctor floating thing, and the Master was like, what the fuck? And like, he kind of just, like, went over and just, like, held the Master, and he's like, I forgive you, and the Master's, like, curled up, and he's like, why? And it's like, he doesn't, like, from that moment, from that moment, I really thought that the Master was gonna go with him. But then, you know, motherfucking Lucy, the oh-so-faithful beard of the Master, if you don't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you. She shoots him and refuses to regenerate, which I think was the most cowardly thing he could have done. I get it, he won. He just wanted to one-up the Doctor. He just wanted to make the Doctor's life miserable. So he was literally willing to end his life, to end his life, to leave the Doctor alone as the literal last of the Time Lord. That's just the kind of thing the Master would do. The devotion, the emotion that went into when the Master was shot. The Doctor literally ran over, cradled him, and was like sobbing, trying to get him to regenerate. And the Master's like seeing how the Doctor reacted to him not regenerating, figured, this is payback. This is payback, and payback is a bitch. And he dies. Then come the events of The End of Time. Now, The End of Time is my favorite episode. Both parts 1 and 2 were definitely my favorite episodes. After the Master gets resurrected and is fucked over by Lucy, I haven't watched the episodes in a really long time, so I'm sorry if my information is a little sketchy, but the way the Doctor had found the Master, I don't remember how he found the Master in that wasteland. He chased after him until nightfall. And it was the middle of the day when he started running after the Master. Like, if that doesn't mean anything, then I don't know what does, but again, that could just be because this is his best friend, and they are the last of their kind. When the Master starts shooting the electric energy at the Doctor, and the Doctor is basically, like, he's taking it by, like, looking the Master in the eyes, and the Master just stops what he's doing, runs over to the Doctor, and catches him as he's about to fall, and, like, kind of lowers him to the ground, and then sort of, like, drops him. But what kind of enemy would do that? And there were so many opportunities in the past where the Master could have easily killed the Doctor, but he hasn't. Why? He wants the Doctor's attention. He craves the contact of his best friend, having an arch nemesis. It's deeper than that. When the Master is trying to tell the Doctor about the drums, the Master gets down, like, towards the Doctor, like, grabs his face, and at this moment, I started squealing. He touches his forehead, the Doctor hears the drums, and, like, he's like, whoa. What is that? It's like he never believed the Master and the drumming until now. And I honestly wished they would kiss. They had kissed Like they touch the foreheads, the master just kind of looks and kisses the doctor. That would have been so cute. I've seen people draw really good pictures of that happening, and warms my heart. Anyway, flash forward, bondage chair thing when the master turns everyone into him, and he's talking to Wilfred and whatever. I wonder what would happen if Wilfred wasn't in the room with them. Like, you'll never know. The fact that you can see at points the doctor is smiling underneath the thing that's biting his mouth, and when the master turns and looks at him while he's smiling, the doctor winks at him. Like, doctor, you're in no position to be winking at people. Like, you're in a bit of a pickle, my friend. What are you doing? Like, he continues to tease the master despite the position that he's in. That's kind of the doctor's style, but it was totally flirting. They were totally flirting, especially the wink back and forth towards one another. It's a game. It's never really, it's basically on the master's priority list, get the doctor's attention, take over the planet. His priorities are not what you think. Like, with that whole scene and them just talking about the past and everything, and the doctor constantly offering to help, to try and help him if only he would listen and travel with him. But the master refuses. He won't give the doctor the satisfaction because he's angry. He's angry about the doctor leaving him on Gallifrey. They were supposed to travel together, and he left with his granddaughter. And I feel like he never forgave him for that. It broke his hearts. That's all there is to it. The final piece of things that really drives me to believe that the Doctor and the Master is basically, that is practically canon, is the second to last scene before the Doctor regenerates. When the Master is, or when the Doctor is going back and forth between Rassilon and the Master with the gun. And for a second, when the Doctor turns and looks at the Master pointing the gun, the Master's face is one of sheer fear or disbelief that after everything they'd been through, the Doctor was going to shoot him. The Doctor was going to kill him. He couldn't get past that. And then once he says, "Get out of the way," the Master's face softens and he smiles. Basically, in the Doctor Master fandom, we don't say "I love you," we say "get out of the way." And I think that's beautiful. And they risked their lives for one another. The Doctor destroyed the thing, and then the Master took care of Rassilon. They're evidently destroying himself in the process, or from what we assumed, because we still don't know how he was able to survive that and become Missy, but I don't think we're ever going to figure that out. Regardless, from these several episodes, Utopia, Last of the Time Lords, any episode that was after or in between those, End of Time Parts 1 and 2, and if there was an episode beforehand that was also related to it, or no, just the End of Times Part 1 and 2. Those episodes, hidden within the subtext, there is some kind of relationship, and Russell T. Davies basically confirmed it when in an interview with, I can never remember the lady's name, but she was saying something about how the relationship between the Doctor and the Master is one of people who used to be friends. And then Russell T. Davies, next to her, says, or even husbands. So Russell T. Davies confirms that they were written more than friends. as either friends or lovers or husbands. It's basically interpretation. Most ships are up to interpretation, but I, for one, see the Doctor and the Master being canon. And therefore, my compatibility rating for these two is 96%. The other 4% comes from the 4% doubt comes from the... I don't really know where that 4% comes from. It's more of the fact that the 4% comes from the fact that it was never explicitly stated that they were together, but it would be 90%, but that 6% comes from the fact that Missy kisses the Doctor. I don't think that was their first time doing that. That's just me. But, yes, like I said, 96% compatibility between the Doctor and the Master through all incarnations. Before the Academy, during the Academy, and to the present. Or what would be present, because time is not a line. You see, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff, and I probably butchered that to death. But that's it for this ship, for my analysis. Like I said, gonna repeat it again, 96%. The 4% doubt comes from the fact that it was never explicitly stated. And next up is going to be a headcanon video about the Doctor and the Master. So if you guys have any headcanons about the Doctor and the Master you would like to share with me or want me to analyze, send them to me through the comments or through my Tumblr, because those are the two most accessible ones, and Tumblr's where I discuss headcanons quite frequently. So if you want me to hear some stuff, shoot me a message and I will respond accordingly, and I might include them in a video. So thank you guys so much for taking your time to watch this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, take a stab at that like button to let me know. And I hope to see each and every one of you sometime in the very near future. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Bye!